It really irks me when someone is hired to do a job and refuses to do it for just about whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. You're hired to do a job, you signed up for it, just do the job. And I don't care if you're a federal employee or you work for Starbucks, a McDonald's, a state courthouse, just do what you're hired to do. All right? Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. This is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. So, my opinion is, if you're hired to do something, just do the job. If you have a moral conflict with it or religious conflict that goes against your moral beliefs, here's your choices. You can either just suck it up and do the job or quit. Those are your two options. You don't have the option to just refuse service because you don't like something. And I don't care if it's something that I agree with. I'm very consistent with that. There are cases that I'll go over in a moment where I actually agree with the person's moral stance. I just don't agree with the way they're executing it. Because again, you're hired to do a job, just do the job. There was a case in Minnesota where a pharmacist, he refused to fill out a prescription for the morning after drug. He believed it's an abortifacient drug, meaning it stops the development of a human, of a fertilized egg. It's as early in the process of life as possible, but he didn't want that. He didn't want to be part of that, so he refused to fill out a woman's prescription for that. He was fined for $25,000. The left really mad at him. They made a big deal of it. And I have to say that, look, even though I agree with the man's position, like I said, I think he should have just quit and just made a stance that way rather than just saying, I refuse to fill out your prescription and do my job. Again, the left freaked out. Fine. Then you had the case in Kentucky where a lady refused, and you might recognize this lady's face if you follow the news a little bit. This lady in Kentucky, she refused to comply and issue a gay marriage license to two gay couples. See, you probably recognize her face because she was all over the place. The left made a big deal about it. She was in the news. The lady's name is Kim Davis. And it was soon after, it was over the redefining of marriage done by the Supreme Court, which I personally disagree with. I agree with civil unions. Same-sex couples, I think, should have every right to inheritance, visitation rights, things like that. No problem with that whatsoever. I'm just a little picky about the whole marriage thing. It's between a man and a woman, basically. So, and it's been like that for a millennium. As far back as we can remember, it's been between a man and a woman. So, to change the word, the meaning, I think, was wrong. I think had we just stuck with a civil union for same-sex and married for traditional heterosexual marriage, we'd be better off. We wouldn't be redefining male and female today. We could have stopped it in its infancy, so to speak, if we just stuck to our guns and insisted that marriage and civil unions are similar but just not the same. Just words mean things. So that was my issue with that. But I still, like I said, I agree with the woman's stance, but not how she did it. She should have quit. Simple as that. Now, the guy of the cake, there was that famous bakery owner. I think it was in Minnesota as well. He refused to, or I might be wrong, you need to look that up. But anyway, I'm sure you heard about him. The case went all the way up to the Supreme Court. He refused to bake a cake for a gay wedding. That case, I think that was well within his rights because he's not an employee, he's an employer. He owned the business. It's his own property. I think And I know the law doesn't agree with me. I'm sure legal scholars think I'm a nutcase, but I think this is consistent. He owns the business. I think if you own a business, you have the right to discriminate for just about any cause. Doesn't matter. Look, I'm black, and if someone wants to not have me enter the business, not give me service for my money, I think that's perfectly fine. Look, I think you have the right to hate me for any reason. You just don't have the right to hurt me. That's all. So if you don't want my money, that's fine. Because I don't want your spit in my food. So that's fine. So see, free market, that's how it works. I keep my money, you keep your saliva, we're all good. So I think it's actually a good thing if you come out and let me know how you feel, because again, the free market can handle that. I can take my money elsewhere. There are other places to go to get service. Who'd want my money more than they hate my guts? Again, I'm consistent like that. I do have an exception when it comes to medical care. I'm not that much of a lunatic where I think you should be allowed to discriminate against somebody because, life saving services. I think you shouldn't be refused. It would be nice if the other side felt the same way. When I mean other side, I mean, yeah, I think this is a left-right thing. It wasn't an issue of just, I'm worried about this person might have COVID or anything like that. There were many cases where you had doctors and nurses that refused to treat people because they were unvaccinated. And I don't think they really thought they were in a particular danger. I think this was just a way to discriminate politically against political ideology. Because look, let's not kid ourselves. We know that the people, for the most part, who refused to take the jab, as we call it, the pure bloods, they like calling themselves, they were conservative and libertarian. The ones who complied were pretty much on the left. So let's not fool ourselves. It's just like, I bet if you saw someone driving a car to this day who still has a mask on, it'd be pretty easy to guess who they voted for. So we know that discrimination, which I don't agree with. You do your job as a nurse or a medical professional, regardless of how you feel on a personal level. That's where I draw the line. Again, the left doesn't seem to feel the same way. But anyway, so getting back to the main topic here, because I'm starting to drift away, is the left, when you don't do your job, they want you fired, flogged, fined, whatever. Except in this case, when someone doesn't do their job. This is pretty recent. This popped up in the news where Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, where he, within his constitutional rights, he suspended a state attorney who refused to do his job. But I guess it's a little different when the shoe's on the other foot. Again, I like consistency. So just like I didn't like it when the clerk and when the pharmacist didn't do their job, I don't like it when this guy's not doing his job. And what is his job? As a state attorney, he's supposed to prosecute cases where they break the law in Florida. And the law in Florida is if you had an abortion that goes after 15 weeks, which I think is reasonable, well, you should face conviction. Well, not conviction, at least face trial. Also, Florida has a ban against child sex change operations, which I think is genital mutilation. And this guy Warren refuses to enforce that as well. So those are two major cases where this man, Warren, refuses to do his job, and the left is perfectly fine with that. No consistency whatsoever. But that's pretty much par for the course, isn't it? Because the only consistency with the left is if it gives them more power, they're for it. Anything else doesn't matter. So it gives them more power to fire someone and punish someone for not complying with issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Fire them. If someone refuses to fill a prescription for the morning after drug, fire them. But if someone doesn't want to protect children from genital mutilation or the unborn from late-term abortion, well, then that's bad. I'm saying that's good. They love that. Don't fire that person. So there's your consistency. But that's my opinion. What's yours? Like, share, comment, and subscribe.